Fear is normal. Fear is a part of entrepreneurship. Fear can be overcome. When I first started Shakespeare in Detroit, I was fearful. I was fearful because I've been an artist my entire life, and I thought to myself, how could I possibly start my own business? How could I possibly be an entrepreneur? After being fearful for 2 years and really questioning myself and not knowing whether or not I had the skills or not to become an entrepreneur, I took a really good look in the mirror and I said to myself, you're either going to let fear conquer you or you're going to conquer fear. You know, fear is a part of life, but there comes a point when you're faced with a choice. You either let it dominate and then you don't do all the things that you want to do with your life, or you let that fear inspire you to move forward and pursue the things that you're really, really passionate about. And that's what I did. I decided to use that fear as fuel to go ahead and make my dreams come true and start my own Shakespeare company, Shakespeare in Detroit. Directing and producing Othello at Grand Circus Park in the summer of 2013 was very, very scary for me because I didn't know what to expect, because that was the first time Shakespeare had ever been performed outdoors and with an all-local cast in the city of Detroit. So that was a really scary experience for me. But again, using that fear, that energy of fear to propel me forward. That's what I chose to do, and it worked out for us. Thank goodness, because we had a really successful show and about 500 Detroiters came out to see it back in August. And now with our current production, there's still that element of fear, because when you're doing site-specific Shakespeare, you're not doing Shakespeare in a theater, there's always this element of the unknown, and that can be very, very scary. But again, I'm using the same strategy I used for our performance at Grand Circus Park, and using that fear and those butterflies to keep me going. I'm using that energy to make things happen. And that's not to say that fear isn't there, or that self-doubt doesn't creep in here sometimes. It does, but I use everything in my power to ignore it so that we can get the job done. So we're doing our second show, our sophomore performance, March 15th at 7 p.m. And then we have a matinee on March 16th that's now at 3 p.m. And then we have 2 shows on March 21st and 22nd at 7 p.m. And it's been quite the experience. And again, those butterflies are there, and that fear is there because we're doing Shakespeare and recreating Rome and Egypt in the middle of a recycling center. And so there is a little bit of the fear of the unknown there as well. But I think when you really, really, really want something as much as I want Shakespeare in Detroit to be successful, regardless of those voices in your head that tell you maybe, hey, you don't have enough experience, or hey, you don't know enough people, or maybe you don't have all the finances you need, regardless of all that, if you can kind of redirect that energy, no matter what you think you might not have, you'll get it, because your dream is everything. And fear, it means so little when you look at the grand scope of your dream, because you have one life, and in this life I want to do something that I think Detroit can have for years and years to come, and that's Shakespeare. I'm going to be long gone, and hopefully Shakespeare in Detroit is going to continue to live on. And if I would have let fear stop me from doing that, I think that would have been a really, really sad loss, not just for me, but for the city.